4th of February. And the meeting is to discuss our inspection, building inspection services and associated activities. Present with us, Mr. Schrader, your last day as an employee of St. Francis?
Yes.
Are you done?
A few hours ago.
A few hours ago?
Yep.
Aren't you now an independent contractor?
Correct.
All right. Too much noise. All right, from the council standpoint, everybody's gotten the Metro West presentation?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Just a side note, I did contact Metro West and I did talk with him a little bit about his contract, but I did ask him if he could come today, and he was interested.
Okay. And was that Todd himself?
Yeah,
And do you know Todd's official capacity there with Metro West?
I do not, but he would not have been our inspector.
Okay. Have any input from the council?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Rickard.
what I'd like to see is just for us, or I would propose that we, being St. Francis seems to be willing to terminate the contract at any time, we terminate the contract, have Mr. Schrader set up on a 6-month interim basis, which would allow us then to compare his costs, in that 6 months to compare to what we're currently paying St. Francis. And then that would also give us that 6-month period to see exactly what else is out there and available.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Rainville.
and to Councilmember Rickard's comment, during that time period, now, we just got this piece from West Metro today. It would be nice if staff could do a spreadsheet that compares them. These are the hourly rates, these are the permit fees and things like that, so we aren't flipping back and forth.
Let me, if I can jump ship on that one there. I've been doing research with other cities and other mayors, and I don't think it would be worth staff's time to do that.
Okay.
Recommendations I have are stay away.
I'm trying to do an hourly comparison and, okay.
Because you're not gonna get apples to apples. What the advantage we have here, and again, I appreciate Councilman Rickard's proposal here, so we get a chance with somebody we know, somebody the staff knows, somebody who knows our city, and we get a chance to put our ducks in a row over a period of 6 months. We have stability through the peak of the building period, if you will. And the research I've been doing here with staff and with other mayors indicate we wouldn't get anything close to that with Metro West because of the additional capabilities that Mr. Schrader has by being part of our operation for the last 5 years, the documentation support, and the excess work that's put on the staff because of the way Metro West has been conducting their business. It's not an apples to apples comparison. So I don't think that, I think we should rate Mr. Schrader straight up and take a look at, what he's offering here and what our costs have been and what other more reliable options to consider over that time than what I've been able to find on
Well,
this.
Mr. Mayor, I wasn't saying that we're gonna go apples to apples comparison. Obviously, Andy has more value added than what.
No, I'm saying, I'm saying I think what you recommend here is a good way to go. I don't think staff should have to spend too much time on Metro West because I don't think that they're anywhere close to apples comparison.
Okay, understood.
I don't want staff to waste time on something that I don't believe, from all the research I've done and from the staff members here and other places we've talked to, that I think it's worth their time to do that. I think we just evaluate Mr. Schrader straight up.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Bettinger.
I'd like to ask Andy, are these percentages set in stone, or are they negotiable some, or?
Mayor and council, I appreciate that. I have, the way I envision a program to alleviate any additional workload on Corey and Lori, that's the way I would envision this fee structure to be going forward. I would be more than open to evaluate that going forward. Nothing is set in stone, but that's the picture in my head that I found to be fitting for this. And I very much appreciate your confidence there in your statements as well as far as an accurate comparison. Because building inspection services isn't really like making widgets. One isn't as good as the other. You know, even though the fee structure is going to be different on a large company versus a smaller one, that attention to detail and that personal contact and the availability is going to be drastically different.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Rainville.
And I would withdraw because I didn't know that there had been the additional information gathered by you and such. I just thought it would be an easy way to look at it, but apparently it's not, so.
Yeah,
That's
it was
fine.
interesting that, some of it came up by accident, and I happened to be in the right place at the right time when this company was being discussed. Others I was intentionally looking and asking.
Okay.
The mayor's was by accident, the staff was intentional. And so I think that the other thing I found is regarding the negotiation of the fees. In other cities that I've talked to, staff and mayors there, they have been able to negotiate a slightly different fee, but that's when the staff does a lot more of the work. And the staff was the one that actually says, if we're gonna do this much work, we need to get more, we need to be able to keep more of the money. And I talked briefly with Corey about that, and right now we're not looking for the staff to take an excessive amount of work. We know that the staff will be doing, a fair amount like they have now. We're expecting it similar to what they've been doing. And with that, it seems the appropriate percentage. If Mr. Schrader keeps doing what he's been doing and they keep doing what they're doing, it seems appropriate, but it also gives us that 6 month to evaluate, is it the most cost effective?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Bryan.
so from what I'm hearing, it sounds like that if we did go with Metro West, that there's probably a greater amount of overhead and administrative costs that our staff would have to be involved with?
That's the experience of other people I've talked to get the same level of service that we're getting right now.
Okay.
Any other discussion on this?
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Rainville.
I've always been grateful to Mr. Schrader and what he's been trying to do to mechanize us in the building area. And I wouldn't want to see us lose that momentum of going forward and continuing to try to get us mechanized. Our new staff person is good with a computer and understands what needs to be done. And so using her expertise and Andy's expertise, I think that's helped us, and I wouldn't want to lose that going forward with, whether it's with Andy or whoever, but I don't think we want to move backwards on that.
I would say, Andy, let you speak to that, but I think from what you have demonstrated since you've been with us, that is certainly a goal of yours, is to be as thorough with the technological updates and the electronic filing as possible, and that you'll still be assertive in that.
Thank you, yes, Mayor and Council, that's why I took the liberty to contact Brent Parent from Parent Custom Homes. I believe you guys did receive that letter from him. Basically a letter of recommendation, so, because that project on Rabbit Street was a very good example of what we're trying to do. Simple as email, cell, text messaging, and so on. He was very appreciative of the fact that they have a number of subcontractors to coordinate their work with. At the end of an inspection, if we take the moment in our tablet in the car, send up an email with an electronic version of the inspection notice, they know in real time what the results were. If there are any corrections, what needs to happen. And that was a good example of the appreciation from the contractors that we've been visiting. Cell numbers are available, they're on the business card. I accept text messages as well. And email, it is very important to be as efficient as we can. That's the technology that the contractors rely on. that's a technology we need to rely on as well in order to be as efficient as we can.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilmember Rainville?
And also that technology also is it helps with the documentation and going back and being able to prove right or wrong on either side, whether it's us or the resident or the business owner that has the permit. You know, it provides that documentation. I think in the past we have found some of our files somewhat lacking that. And just having that, because you can take your series of emails or text messages and send them and put them in a file.
And one more point too, that if I may, is the durability of the records. That's exactly what you're speaking to. You go into a piece of paper and it's been there for 15, 20 years, it's faded, it's crinkled, is it there? Whereas electronic documents, you know, as we visited with R&B Computer Service, they're backed up 3 ways from Sunday. That when you save something electronically, it's there. It's reliable and it's durable. That documentation is going to stay in that original format. So going forward, you know that that's preserved.
Other comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Bettinger?
I just think the percentages are a little high at this point, and I guess I don't know, I mean, if you just look at the total revenues, and if you do the 80, you know, the 80 and 100% depends on whether it's the permit fee or the plan review fee. You know, if we would've been paying that in the past, we'd be paying a lot more out for inspection fees than what we were, so I just think it's something worth to look at, and that's why I asked Andy if his fees were negotiable. He seems to be quite a bit higher than this other company that bid on it, West Metro, or Metro West. I had talked to another contractor that used to do it and still does it, but they didn't want to put an offer or a bid in here. But back when he bid on it, the last time the city was looking for inspections, his percentages were quite a bit lower too. It was like 65% for permit fees. I think it was 70% for plan review fees. And it's just something I think that it would have been nice if we had more time to look at this, but I just think the fees are a little high.
Mr. Schrader?
Mayor and Council, I appreciate that, and remembering that, we need to look at an accurate comparison. You know, Metro West, as many people have found out, they have a different level of service than what I would be offering. The availability, the response, and so on. And I guess looking at their fee schedule, you know, if they're gonna be offering, to only charge 65% of some of the permit fees, on a set fee permit, what type of service are the Alvin residents gonna be able to expect for $60, $70? You know, whereas I am next day, some days, same day inspections, although that's not the best use of our time. You know, to have an inspection the next day is pretty efficient use of our time as well as the residents. When a contractor is gonna be charging $60 to $70 for a permit, I experienced after working in St. Francis after Metro West had left, cleaning up what was left behind was once a week, once every couple of weeks as far as availability at the city. The residents and the contractors, unfortunately, their projects were stretched out quite a bit, and in some instances, they just rolled right over it. So in order to be responsive and be respectful of the residents and the contractors' time, this is what it takes to do a good job. And that's where I feel very confident in this, and absolutely going forward, everything should be looked at on a continuous basis. So after, 6 months or during that 6-month period, if we can find some adjustments that can be made, you know, if there's any efficiencies that can be gained through more use of technology, or something that Lori or Corey could be working with as well as me, I'm always open to that. But at least in order to make this move forward at this time and avoid any gap in service, this is what I envision and this is what I'm looking at. But certainly, this is always something that can be looked at going forward.
And the net result of the lower fees, I mean, if this is a income neutral proposition here, that basically we're covering the cost, ultimately it would benefit the residents if there's a lower cost. The city's not intending to make money on this, but to cover our costs. And this is, 50% of the plan review versus 100% is significant. 50% of the permit fees versus 80%. Depends on how much more the staff has to do and for this increased percentage. But I think it's worth evaluating, over a period of time. And obviously, if Mr. Schrader isn't competitive in that period of time, then, and we find that the recommendations that I received weren't as accurate according to some people, we can always make those adjustments. But it gives us some continuity, it gives us some opportunity to evaluate moving forward without missing a beat here.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Rainville.
back to Councilmember Rickard's first comment, if he's willing to put forth a motion to that, I would second that motion.
So moved.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? I would say, Mr. Schrader, just to be noted that if we can, for Councilmember Bettinger's request to look at tightening up the fees in this process, we'd appreciate that. If we can accentuate your value for the fees, so as we go forward, it's clear to us why, if your fees are higher, why that's worth it, because we will be evaluating in this period of time. Any other comments? Councilman Rainville.
And to continue with that, if the value of paying you the fees that you're requesting, and what would it mean to us and staff to, if you reduced your something by 20%, what effect is that going to have on our staff? What are they going to have to pick up?
Certainly.
Mr. Mayor, would, Mr. Rickard, would you be willing to put a date of effective?
Yeah, well, whenever this goes 6 days or 6 months from the.
No, I mean effective when he would start.
Monday.
Immediately would be.
Okay, because then I would ask after that, we would need to make a motion to cancel the contract immediately with the city of St. Francis. So you can make it effective Monday.
Yeah, what's the date?
It's the
27th. All right, any other discussion on that?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Bettinger.
I think during the 6-month period, or even sooner, we should be looking at the feasibility of whether having our own in-house building inspector. If we're gonna be paying, like last year, the revenues were roughly $160,000. We could be paying our own building inspector for less money, and we should look at that.
Okay. Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember.
just a quick note to go along. That was part of what I was thinking as far as our whole 6-month investigate other options, figure out exactly what we're gonna do with, that and internal staff and see what we can do ourselves.
Any other comments?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Ryan.
I'm just trying to understand when, because there's a difference between the Metro West contract when it comes to the miscellaneous fees, so that would be $95 an hour versus $65 an hour. Is the permit fees all under inspections on the building debt revenue expenses sheet? Or is that somewhere else? I'm just trying to do some rough math in my head and not sure where that would come out.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, the building department revenue expenses sheet, you've gotten for 2014, 15, 16, and what we have in 17, what we spent in total expenses, which included the inspections and the code enforcement that was directly sent to the city of St. Francis. And then all those other supplies and stuff are in-house miscellaneous things that we had to pay for. Surcharge is just a pass-through fee. It's 100% that goes back to the state. So those are your total expenses, and then the total revenues includes everything we accept for permit fees, whether it's septic, new homes, commercial, and then that also includes pumping permit fees. So I'm not really sure what your question,
I'm just trying to figure out how much a difference the additional services would be when we're looking at $65 an hour versus $95 an hour. I'm just trying to put that into some sort of how much that would be. Because that's about a third less of what Metro West would be charging. And I'm assuming there'd be some mileage in there too if they did have to come up here, so.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Rainville.
can I get this, ask Cory to clarify the total revenues? Did you say that that does not include the permit fees?
no, it does.
It does, okay.
It includes, but it also includes pumping permits, so
Down here.
when you see that it says 421, that might have been
Can-
75 pumping
Okay,
permits.
all right, thank you.
And the plan check fee is in there as well?
Correct. And the surcharge, everything that we collected in revenues for the building department.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilmember Bettner.
I'll make a motion to terminate the contract for building inspection services from the city of St. Francis.
All right. Effective
To-
27.
Effective today.
All right, discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Motion to adjourn.
All right,
Second.
meeting adjourned.
Mayor, also thank you.
Thank you.